Hello friends, Jeff Ellis Worldwide here, and we're back for another video. And Trevor behind the camera, he doesn't even know what we're talking about right now. But he's about to find out because today we're talking about something that really annoys me about control surfaces. Now, check this out here. This is a control surface. This is an Avid S4. And most people think it's an S6. It's actually an S4. It has the same center section as the S6, but it's kind of a smaller footprint and it's perfect for mixing. Now, I had a dream once that I could get out of the computer screen, and I did that to some degree by getting this. And this has made music so much more fun and so much more immersive. And what I realize is that while I'm looking at a screen or a DAW or whatever, I'm being so influenced by visual feedback that my brain is just not in a musical place. And I think this is why a lot of the GOAT mixers cling on to their analog consoles for as long as they can, because like that workflow is so much more musical, and it really puts your brain in a place to where all of a sudden you can just process the music so much easier. You can fall into the daydream of the song so much easier. So this thing changed my life. However, a lot of these it shouldn't have to be this expensive and this amazing to do what I want to do. And there is a knob that's missing on like every control. There's two knobs that are missing on every control surface that are like kind of less expensive, and it blows my mind and it makes me so angry. Okay. Now the first knob is the back and play button. So check this out, Trevor.
In every port, they run amok.
One of the most important things about mixing is like, I have this like split station setup. I call this a split station setup. And what does that mean? Well, there's a station here where I do all my editing and processing and stuff. And here is, once I kind of get everything sitting right to kind of like a static pass area in the computer, I can automate out my mix here. And then it becomes,
In every port, they run amok.
when you're not looking at the screen, suddenly it becomes art again. It's crazy. Like, my brain is like, when I'm looking at the screen, it's like, oh, production. I'm so influenced. Like, look at this. So this is Dirty Dog delay. Look how badass that interface is. That visual feedback is going to, my brain is gonna like interpret that and kind of like almost apply something a bit to the music. And I realized this for the first time when I was mixing a song. And I don't know if anybody's ever set their mixing computer on night shift, which is like, it filters out a lot of the blue light when it gets evening time to help you sleep. But I'd be like mixing a song and all of a sudden night shift would come on and the screen would get more red. And all of a sudden I'd be like, I swear, like my song sounds differently all of a sudden. Has this happened to you, Trevor? Where all of a sudden all of a sudden you're mixing and it goes red and it's like, the song sounds different to me now. And it's like, well, nothing changed. So what that means is, and this is the first time I got onto this like philosophy of like, oh my gosh, like, our visual field has so much feedback on the way that we process what we're hearing with what we're seeing. So if I just pulled up like a Fairchild or something like that, like, or just this, like a J37 or whatever, all of a sudden, like, this looks like super Beatles, old-timey or whatever. So now my brain is thinking old-timey or whatever, but does it necessarily sound like that? Maybe, maybe not. If I took some like World War II era or like the God Particle, okay, all of a sudden, this is like high tech and bad, like, you know, this is giving me a visual feedback that's just like, oh, all of a sudden I'm modern and hip and cool, and like what's actually happening in the sound, maybe that may not be that. However, I'm getting this visual feedback and I don't like to be influenced like that. I notice a lot of times if I'm using like something that looks like from World War II or something, like let's just open up a Fairchild really fast. Again, I'm like, my visual field is like invoking warmth or whatever. And then if I just open a basic channel strip, this is like, oh, this is corny basic Pro Tool sound. And none of that's true. Like, sound is just what it is. And you start to notice this when you start doing a split monitor setup, and all of a sudden you can come over here and now you're adjusting plugins when you actually can't see the graphical user interface, and you end up doing things that are like way different all of a sudden. When you can't see the EQ screen, like when I pull this up, this channel strip, I might be like EQing something and I'm like very timid or whatever because like, oh, that is a thing, and then make me think of it's like a kick drum or whatever, like, oh, that's a thing. But and then if I was like that, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, no, don't do it. However, you'll come to find when you start EQing stuff, when you can't see the screen, you might do more drastic stuff like that because you're just listening at that point. There's no real visual feedback here. Like, these meters are showing the waveform. You don't really get drawn into that. So you're kind of in the daydream of the sound, and you end up EQing things and processing things entirely different depending on if you are looking at the DAW or you're not looking at the DAW. And guess what? The screen lies to you. So this thing changed my life because now I no longer have to necessarily always be looking at the screen when I do processing, okay? So this, like I said before, this has two things on it that I haven't seen on any other control surface. Maybe it exists, but and it's so simple. You'll buy like a control surface from all the major manufacturers, and they'll have all these buttons, and we never use any of them. And then like the two most important things that I think are the most helpful for mixing aren't there. So when I mix down a song, I'll put the whole song in trim automation, and I can do that quickly here where I go, all the tracks are in trim and all the tracks are in touch. So now every fader snaps to 0, and I'm put into a situation where in trim mode in Pro Tools, and I honestly, like a good chunk of my career, I didn't even know this existed, right? And I think a lot of mixers don't even know about trim mode. But while we're automating, let's say every track has a ton of automation on it already. Like let's say I inherit a Pro Tools session from a producer and there's all this automation. A lot of times it's hard to add your own automation because you like add a thing and then it'll like snap back to what was there before or whatever, and it's just like annoying and confusing. When you go into trim mode, it doesn't matter where the fader was in a particular sound in the song, they all snap to 0. And when you do a passive automation, you'll either be adding or subtracting volume. And after each pass, the fader, whatever you did, it just adds on top of what was there before. And then it snaps back to 0. So you're always at 0. And then you're just pushing and pulling all the elements of the song like you're a conductor of an orchestra. And it's so much fun. And it's so intuitive. And it's so pleasurable. Pleasurable? What do you think it is, Trevor? Pleasurable? Bull? But what if you're full of pleasure?
Both.
He says both. Okay, whatever. So check this out.
Every point they run amok.
So we're in trim now. Let's just do like a passive automation. Whatever. I just pulled up a random session here, but let's say we're on the drums. Okay, so
Every point they run amok. Replace the
so this are my drums. All I had to do to pull up the drums on this S4 was press, we lay this out to be like this. This is my folder of drums. I press this button, all my drums spill right here. That's so fast. I don't have to go through a screen. But here's the waveforms here of the drums going by. So
Every point they run amok. Replace
okay, down here we have a clap. So let's say I want to do like a little accent on the clap. Ready? So I can just go.
Every point they run amok. Replace
Okay, let's say I just put that automation in the song. Now when I play it back, you're not going to see the fader move. The automation that I did was added to the automation lane, and now it goes flat again. So let's break this out even further, make it something that makes even more sense. So I just pressed my folder for my VCAs. I have the whole song down here to drums, percussion, bass, synth, guitars, leads, background vocals, effects returns. And my vocal effects returns and my effects returns for the music part. So if I'm automating the vocal, I can be like.
Every point they run amok. Replace
So let's say I want to do a little automation on the vocal. So I can take the leads, attention that. Now the leads are here. I'm going to go.
Every point they run amok. Replace the parachutes. Go days with skin kissed by sun. Their cousin.
Ah! I press the leads. Okay, now I'm automating the leads in trim mode. So let's just listen down for a second.
Every port, they run amok. Pirate plays poker, the parrot just flex. They seek out dames with skin kissed by sun. Their cousin mayhem, but calling it fun. Free when they come.
Okay, so let's say I did that lane of automation. You see it's printed here, right? Okay, so let's say I didn't quite get it. So let's go again.
Every port,
Notice how this is back to 0 again, despite what I did.
every port, they run amok.
Make it a little quieter.
Plays poker, the parrot just flex. They seek out dames with skin kissed by sun. Their cousin mayhem, but calling it fun.
So after each layer, now what I just did, it's always adding and subtracting and returning to 0, which is so nice. So I don't have to worry about trampling on top of anything. But this has a button that's so helpful for doing this automation. I'll do a whole song like a conductor. Look at this back and play button. Zoom on back and play. What does that do? What it does, it goes back and plays.
A pirate laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. A pirate laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew.
So let's say I want to just automate the part of the half of the crew. Clap, clap. Let's say I want to hit that clap, clap. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go, let's say I just go to my drums really fast. Put that here.
A pirate laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port,
Right?
they run.
So I'm going to do that again a little bit louder.
A pirate laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every
And let's
port,
say I didn't quite get it, right? Back and play.
that bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every
Oh,
port,
too loud. Let's try it again. Let's go down.
That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port,
You know what I mean? So when you're doing these automations, having this back and play button here is so good because you don't have to rewind or whatever. You're just going, you miss an automation, back and play, add a little bit. Miss an automation, back and play, drop it a little bit.
laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port, they run amok. The pirate plays poker, the parrot just flex. They seek out dames with skin kissed by sun. Their cousin mayhem, but calling it fun.
I mean, I don't know. So, okay, but Trevor, get down here. Get down here. Okay, so check this out. Another super important thing that we forget about on Earth is the transport. Once you start living in this world of trim automation, transport, and back and play, now you're just like,
Laughs, spilling his brew.
you're just right here, back and play,
Laughs, spilling.
rewind. I miss an automation. A lot of times when you're just trying to hit the emotion right in a vocal or whatever, like, I don't know, this is not even a finished song, but it's like,
A pirate laughs, spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port,
haha, was too
laughs,
quieter.
spilling his brew.
Back and
That
play.
bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port,
Try it again, back and
laughs,
play.
spilling his brew. That bird's more trouble than half of the crew. In every port,
You know what I mean? And you're just, it makes it so easy. But this back and play button is like not on very many control surfaces. And some of these control surfaces, you can kind of like program this stuff in, but this should be right on the transport of every control surface. It's not, it kills me. Okay, the other thing is this knob right here. This is set up to where no matter what I press in Pro Tools, delete all this crazy fake automation, no matter what plugin I press in Pro Tools, let's say this decapitator right here. Let's say I'm gonna go to drive. So I'm gonna click this drive here. That's gonna come here to this knob here, right? And now I can set the distortion on these drums, let's say. I just put a decapitator over the drum bus just as for whatever. I'm not really mixing right now. But now I can set the distortion levels without being influenced by like the badass looking nature of the decapitator. Also, I'm not gonna get like freaked out if the meter is going crazy or whatever. I don't wanna see the meter, I just wanna listen. So check this out. Anything that I press in Pro Tools is gonna map here.
every port, they run amok. Pirate plays poker, the parrot just flex. They seek out dames with skin kissed by sun. Their cousin mayhem, but calling it fun.
You know what I mean? So this is so, especially in setting reverbs and stuff like that, I can feel the song while it's going without seeing like what the plugin's doing. And why every control surface doesn't have a knob like this, it's crazy. like even the other Avid control surfaces don't have this. This is the most helpful knob because I'll be like, oh, I want to do let's say here's a dirty dog. This is over the whole vocals or whatever. Like, let's say I just want to change the wet and dry, but I don't want to see this plugin. I want to be in the daydream of the song while it's going. So I click that, and now
Every port, they run amok. I replace bigger, the just fucks. They see gardens, with skin kiss my son. My cousin may have me counting fun.
you know, obviously that sounds crazy, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's cool in the moment of just vibing out to the song. That's cool. But if I was over here setting it,
Every port, they run amok. I replace bigger, the just fucks.
I'm like, 11%, is that, am I being crazy? Maybe it's like 20, I don't know. Like, and then I'm seeing the dirty dog. This is like influencing me. And then my screen brightness is influencing me. There's all these like, and the fact that my eyes are in this world here, I'm just using too much of my brain processing the visual field when I need to be in Artland over here, right? So if you follow me, you know I've been setting up this home studio at my house, and I'm like, how do I get this at my home studio when this knob isn't on anything? My little happy touch anything wiggle knob doesn't exist on any control surface that I know of, and then there's no back and play. Well, luckily the Avid controller that I have at my house, and I'll show you that later in the video, does have back and play, but it's like a secondary function when it should be the first. It's like one of the most important things. And you'll come to find when you're automating, really all you need to be doing in most cases is trim automation. So you get your faders in trim mode and trim in touch mode. And then, did I mention that before? It's got to be trim in touch mode, and have your back and play, and then your little knob where you control stuff. And it's like, that's the bulk of what you need. It's nice to have a little control room monitoring here, speaker selection. And come here. This is a cool thing, Trevor. Check this out. I can go to any marker in the song just by, let's go to build A or whatever that is. Like, oh God, we got to turn off that. Let's turn this off for a second. That was crazy. No, build B.
Eric squats loud, find me a.
I'm just flying around the song. Interesting. These are my markers in the song. Oh, this is hot. Okay, so, and then it's like, if I just need to get to let's say I need to get to the percussion elements really fast. Well, this is the VCA for it, or I just go to the drums and now I get the individual ones and it all lays up here. If there's a little too many tracks, I can just go to press user 2 here and just go through the session. And then as I'm going, check this out, Trevor. You can see the waveforms coming. See, there's the snare. I can see the waveforms coming. That's helpful too sometimes. Anyway, so I found a solution for back and play on my home controller thing, which I'm going to show you. But what about this knob? Well, Trevor, there may be a solution. And that solution may be inside of this box. So let's check this out. It's crazy. Can we show weapons on YouTube? I don't know. Why is your hand shaking? Are you scared? Don't worry. It's a gimbal. It's not gonna. So yeah. Let's see here. Let's do a little unboxing here. Try not to. This is a strange and elaborate wrap job here. Come over here, Trevor. I'm gonna like cut myself on camera. Boom. It's dark in here, so I can't really see what's going on. Should we do the old method of just like rip and tear, or should I like stab into this? What do you think? Stab. Oh God, this is bad. This is going really badly. Okay, let's get rid of the knife. The knife is causing problems. This was shipped from I don't even know. Greece. This is from Greece. Okay. Sick. Okay, get close for the unboxing. Oh, why does it have to have the kernels in it? Ooh. Thank you very much for choosing knob. They do make a knob. And I got a knob, and this is new. And we're going to check it out. So don't forget. Okay, probably going to need to read this at some point. Okay, so The kernels I don't love. This is unbox therapy. There was 0%. Is this the knob? Ooh, that noise. Oh God, that's not sealed. Okay. Okay, I think we got everything out of here. I always love to smell modern technology. Okay, this is here. Murphy's gonna eat up all these kernels. Okay, so the knob, right? In theory, this knob is supposed to be this knob. And if this knob is this knob, then y'all at home can kind of duplicate my setup here with this, and I can have a version of this in my home studio because I really love the premise of this, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna teleport to my home studio and plug this in and see if we can do the same thing here. And we're working very hard on Mixer Brain right now, my online course. If you buy that course, you'll learn a lot more about what we're talking about here with the automation, the trim automation. We're gonna go through mixing one of the biggest bands in the world, and you're gonna see exactly how I automate a mix from start to finish on that song, and then you're going to learn more about the split monitor setup and the philosophies behind that and all these little workflow things that we do to remain artful, okay? That's what this is all about. Not seeing the screen is to fall into the daydream of the song. And because I'm always like, mixer brain is like this brain that mixers get. It's terrible. You want to be in the kind of brain that you were as a kid, listening to music in your headphones in your parents' basement while they were fighting upstairs, okay? Yeah, so zoom in on the knob, and then we'll teleport to my home studio and see if we can get this thing fired up. Sound good? Wood grain too. Ooh, ooh. Okay, and cut. Hello friends. Okay, so we teleported to my home studio, and we're up in the Hollywood Hills now. And okay, this is a work in progress. Look around a little bit. You'll notice that this is the same split monitor, or split station setup as I had at East West. This isn't finished yet. Obviously, there's no speakers here. And this is a gaming PC, but the desks are in place and the screens are in place for where it's ultimately gonna be. And over here, we're trying to duplicate my automation setup that I have at my studio because like, it's such an important part of my mixing is the automation. And you'll notice we have some faders here. This is the Avid Artist Control, which we have our transport here. We have our back and play button. So I'll be able to do a lot of my own stuff. And at some point, I'm gonna I'll get used to dealing with this. I'm not sure like how all that stuff works, but I'm gonna learn it. But now we have our knob here. So we're gonna test that out. And you'll notice like, this room is all about natural sunlight. It's nighttime right now, so you're not gonna get it, but you know, the main thing is we didn't want to block the windows too much, and windows actually like aren't as big of a problem in a studio as you'd think acoustically. It's almost like the biggest problem with windows in a studio is that it lets in sound from outside. So if like a truck goes by or whatever, we're gonna hear it, but it's not a big deal when we're mixing. I consulted a really smart person, Charles from Cali Audio, and he helped me figure out the acoustics of this room and get into a really good place. And so yeah, we have this room sounding really good and it translates really well, and that's all we really need. And in Mixer Brain, we're gonna go into depth about how we got this room sounding acoustically good enough to be great for mixing, and how it costs like not that much money. So I think that's really important. My East West studio is like an insanely expensive studio. However, this room here it's just a bedroom, right? But that's not the focus of this this video. We're looking at this knob now. So let's see if it works here at home. So here, let's pull this up here. So I have this flamingo verb here thing, right? So hopefully you can hear this. We're not screen capturing right now, so we're just gonna film the screen. But we're playing this back. I'm gonna click on this button here, and the setup for this knob, I just plugged in a USB cable and then like skimmed the manual. It's very simple. Okay, so I click that. Okay, so that's cool. I don't know why that closed, but that's cool. So that is very nice. Let's see if I can click on this time thing, if that'll adjust. So if you go here. Okay, so that's working. Now zoom in really close here. There's some parameters here on the left and right. One of these boxes, I'm still learning this thing. This like circle thing I think is like more for knobs. And this square thing is maybe more for like faders and stuff like that. And this is for, I think when it comes down to like certain things that you go up and down with, maybe like a slider like this or something like that, you'd have this up and down. And if it was a horizontal thing, you'd go sideways, but I'm still trying to learn that. But this is like touch sensitive. It knows when you're touching it and when you leave your hand off. And they have it set up by default to where if you, let's say I grab this, this isn't like doing anything internally. It's like taking over the mouse, basically. I think that's how they got around not having to worry about, is it Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools uses AAX plugins, and then they have their Yukon way of doing control surfaces, and then other DAWs use like HUI or whatever. I forget all like the ways, like there's different ways that control surface will talk to different DAWs, and they have their own language. Pro Tools uses Yukon, but this machine here just takes over the mouse. So let's say if I want to adjust a pre-delay, I just go click this. Can you see that? So that's pretty good. I don't know why every time I let go, it closes the plugin window, but that's, I mean, I just literally like I'm sure there's a way to figure that out, or the setting is wrong. But this is really exciting for me because this means that I'll be able to duplicate what is going on at my East West studio here with this knob. And now in the future, this screen won't even be here. So I'll be doing that little dance that I did at my other studio where I kind of like, will click a plugin over there and pop over here and start adjusting it. And that way I'm doing it where I don't have to see any of the screen. Like I don't want to see the screen, right? When I'm doing my adjustments, it's like, it's going to look like this. And then when I don't see a screen, it becomes a song. And I can start like adjusting the wet to dry of reverbs and stuff like this with the knob. Hopefully it's going to work out this way. Knob didn't send this to me for free. I paid full price. I got this because of someone's recommendation. And, so I can't like fully endorse this thing yet because I just got it, but so far so good, and I think it's going to be great. But we'll see how it turns out. But anyway, that is the video for the week, and I just wanted to touch a little bit on about how important control surfaces are, how important is getting your head out of the computer, and it doesn't have to be super expensive to get this all going. Like at my East West studio, it is very, very expensive. Like that control surface I bought from Avid, like I had to get a business loan and I paid that off over time, and honestly it was like probably the like most amazing piece of hardware I've ever used because it just made my mixing so much better because it was my first step at getting out of the computer. And I would love to have another one of those here at my home studio, but if I can get this set up kind of like in a way that's less expensive, that would be great for my home studio, and it would be great for people that are doing mixing and production that they're like not so like all in that they're gonna get a whole business loan for it. But they even have Avid S1s now. This is the old version, so we're probably at some point gonna update this to 3 Avid S1s. So I have 24 faders, and this will be like the master section. We'll have our transport here, our back and play, and our way of adjusting parameters there. Now, I don't think there's some way to get one of these knobs to do what this is doing, but I feel like with a software update that should be possible, or maybe I'm just dumb and it can already do that, but I don't know. Anyway, the knob is pretty cool. I think it's called a knob, and yeah, so check it out. I'll link to their webpage, and this might be something that'd be perfect for your studio. Okay, did I cover everything, Ivan?
Yep.
Here, give me this thing. Did you enjoy filming? Normally Trevor, normally he's like, no, you didn't. You got stressed out on the camera. This is your first camera experience.
Yeah,
you're like a strictly audio guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, look at this. Okay, so check this out. Hold up, there's a white 2x4 here at somewhere around here. Where'd that go? Right here. You see that wood thing holding up this, yeah, hold it up next to the wood one so to see where it's gonna be. At some point, the diffuser is gonna be straight held by a white 2x4 instead of the wood grain one, and that's just gonna help this like all white aesthetic of this studio a little bit better. And what else? We're gonna get white Callies in here so they match these stands. And my friend just made these stands here that are set up to where you can put vinyl records in there. So it's all coming together. These things just take time. Say hello to Snow, Allegra. And yeah, should we show them the view really fast?
Yeah.
They might be able to triangulate where I live, but if you come at me, Murphy, my dog, is gonna get that ass. But look at that view. In the daytime, I just wanted something with some natural sunlight. Is that too much to ask for? I'm tired of being in a cave all the time, so we got some natural sunlight. So some days I can just work out of here and get my vitamin D popping. And that's pretty important, right? Vitamin D?
It is.
All right, friends, thanks for watching the video. Liking, subscribing, whatever. I actually don't even whatever, it's whatever. And also, I'll put a link to my mailing list so you can stay up to date with Mix Your Brain, my online course that's going to change your life forever. It should be out in December, maybe. We're working really hard on it. It's coming out great, but it's a lot of work. And we're doing other mixing stuff too, so I hope that comes out in time. But it's going to be a principle-based approach to the art of mixing. And I think all we do is focus on plugins and stuff and not enough in the principles. And I'm going to make you an artist that pays less attention to the paintbrush and more attention to the canvas, okay? That's important when you're painting, right? Anywho, look at this guitar that I got from Fender. When I was growing up, I was like obsessed with surf music, and I always wanted a Jazzmaster because I was like a big surf music-y guitar. And I did some work with Fender, and to thank me, they hooked me up with my dream guitar. And I have a Fender Twin Reverb at my house. This is a Princeton, or not my house, at the other studio. But anyway, yeah, this is my gaming PC. Unrelated. Anyway, say bye. We're meandering. Look how sexy the studio is at night.
Murphy.
Ooh, these gaps are gonna get fixed. We're gonna soffit mount these. Don't you kids worry. Ooh-wee. Oh, also one thing I just quickly wanted to mention. I don't want anybody being like, those speakers are set in a weird position or whatever. I just got these new JBLs. If you notice, those other speakers that I had aren't here anymore. And I'm actually going to be setting these up tomorrow. So these are just sitting here, these new JBL M2s. And these haven't been placed or set up or calibrated or anything. So they're just unboxed and sitting here. And we're going to do a whole video about these JBLs soon. But anyway, back to this video. So don't worry about these. These are just sitting there. The only reason that tape is for the other speakers, it's just sitting here, okay? So I don't know where we're going to put these, but a really smart person's going to help me with that tomorrow, okay? And then we'll film all that stuff for a future video. Okay, thanks, bye.